I'm almost done with Good Omens.
You like it?
Yeah, mostly. I have some things it's personal taste, I think.
Yeah.
I don't like the narrative is just so all over the place. I mean, it's basically just Antichrist is being born, but
I mean, it's been a long time since I've read it.
and it's fun. I mean, it's mainly supposed to be a comedy, so it's pretty funny.
And it's also it is. I feel like there is a weirdness to it because it is two people writing the book.
Yeah. And when they do, are they working on each chapter together,
that's what
or do they go back and forth?
I honestly don't know. So I'm always very curious. Like, is it like
because the book Relic was written by two people? Did you ever read Relic?
No. Can you feel like certain chapters are written by like a different person? Like, does it feel like there's a?
I'm not good with that unless it's like specific. Like I would be able to tell Martin or Stephen King like out of a bunch, but like those two guys, I'm not too familiar. I've only ever read one other book by Gaiman. I've never even read anything.
But like in book, you can't really make a difference. Like you can't say, like
chapter to chapter doesn't seem. It seems pretty fluid.
Because say like in one chapter, like someone uses more old English like writing style, like let's say or something, or like certain terms, like like everyone has like phrases that they use just more often than other people. Like maybe the one guy uses one phrase more than the other chapters. I don't know. It's been a long time since I read it in high school. I do remember, like Agnes is a fun like thing. The angels or the angel and the demon are fun.
I was gonna say I would prefer if the story just kept on track with the angel and the demon and focused more on like their friendship on Earth. And then them sort of coming to realize, we don't want this to end, so they're trying to prevent it.
Right.
But then it jumps around like during I'm already sort of way into like when the apocalypse is actually happening.
Okay.
And it just seems to be wasting time with just random people that I get like one and done chapters with.
Yeah.
Like, and then they ran in because the Antichrist is like sort of just making shit up. Mm-hmm. Like he's got the power of that kid basically from that Twilight Zone episode where he can just like make things happen just with thoughts.
You're a bad man. You're a very bad man. And you mustn't think bad thoughts about me either, or I'll do the same thing to you.
Well, I mean, it's a fantasy trope in a way.
And then there's like late in the game, like this is almost at the 60% mark, they introduce this new character called Newt, who's joining this like sort of cult who fight witches, and then he runs into the witch who has the magic book that predicts everything.
That's Agnes, yeah.
Agnes. Butter. The
Nutter Cup or something like
cup
that?
Or whatever.
I forget,
Butternut. Butternut squash. Yeah, so I'm like, man, this Newt character, I kind of wish I would have gotten more from him early. Like, it seems late to be introducing this character who's...
It's a weird, like, I think about that, like, even with, like, Game of Thrones, I feel like adding in, like, characters, like all of, like, Dorne gets added in late. Like, it's also weird, like...
I mean, Dorne is mentioned here and there and talked about, but, like, nobody knew characters are down.
Right, like, it's not like it's out of left field completely, but it's also weird when, like even the sparrows are just suddenly like, all right, this book 4, here's sparrows.
Yeah, they're not really hinted at all.
No. And same as, like, most of not Westeros, but Essos stuff is not really mentioned a whole lot.
Right.
I don't know. It is weird when you get characters who are only brought in, like, late game, and it's like, if they have too much of an impact, like say, Phagon. Like, if he has a huge impact, it's like, wait, he was only brought in book 5.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that's because you killed off all the main characters in books 1 through 4, so now you have to introduce new ones.
We need another guy.
Yeah.
Is he even going to be a bad guy? I don't even know.
Right. I'm trying to remember Endgame of Good Omens, and it's been so long, God.
I mean, I've got like 100 pages left, so I'm getting there.
Yeah. I just remembered it. I enjoyed it more. Like, I didn't go into it expecting great fantasy or anything like that.
No, it was
because it's more comedic, like you said. Like, it's purposely comedic.
Yeah, like the Four Horsemen. Like, once again, I was like, the Four Horsemen. I was like, oh, this is kind of interesting. And then I get like one chapter from them every 100 pages, and I'm like, okay.
You almost forget about them.
Yeah, they're like in a motorcycle gang or something.
Yeah.
And there's Scarlet, and there's the famine guy who's like a businessman, and then there's Death is literally just a motorcycle guy.
Yeah.
And they ride the appropriate colored motorcycles to match their biblical horse color.
Yeah.
Whatever. I did like the fact that instead of pestilence, you have pollution, because pestilence retired after penicillin was like created.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's funny.
I mean, and you can tell this is the same guy. Well, one of the two guys anyway. But it's like you can tell this is a guy who did like American Gods.
I never read it, I just saw the show.
But like you know what I mean? Like you can tell like the idea of
He has a passion for like sort of saturnizing.
not religion,
in
but
general?
like the idea like a mythology.
Pantheons. I
Yeah.
guess? I don't know.
He enjoys like treating gods as like almost like the way the Greeks wrote about gods.
Well, I was gonna
in
say,
a way.
when was Good Omens made? Because I'm getting a lot of like.
I want to say early '90s, maybe mid
Oh,
'90s.
okay, so that's an older book then. So, because I'm getting like heavy supernatural vibes, I'm wondering if Supernatural just took a lot of cues from that book then, because you get the Four Horsemen in that, and like a lot of those like personified like deities or angels and stuff, and
the
demons.
show was 2019. That's not what I
Yeah,
want.
the season 2 of the show just came out, so that's why I thought the book was somewhat newer.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, the show's like popular now, so I'm like, oh yeah.
Let me find the. It's always. Okay, here's the book. 1990. It was written 1990.
Oh yeah, it's that's crazy. I didn't know, because I like how Crowley liked all these classic rock songs.
Yeah.
But I guess back then it was just sort of rock.
Yeah.
At the time.
Now, you know, and I read it in high school, so I read it in like, I want to say somewhere between 2000 and 2004.
Yeah.
So, like you said, like it feels like classic rock even then.
I liked this dynamic friendship between Crowley and there's a character named, there's a demon called Crowley in Supernatural, and the angel Azraeli, Azraeli,
something like that. Yeah.
He's like sort of this prudy.
Well, yeah.
He's got a.
He's like C-3PO.
It reminds me of the Odd Couple with these two.
Yeah,
Like the neat and tidy one that's like super
You could
pedantic.
almost do like an Odd Couple where like the demon like throws the cigar down and the other one takes the umbrella and picks it up. Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun. Which, you know, in Supernatural, that would be like Castiel and Crowley, because Castiel is like the main angel character that comes in.
I do like the idea that like both of them got like, I don't want to say addicted or like they just fell in love with Earth.
Yeah, because Crowley is was the actual serpent.
Yeah.
That tricked
Eve.
Azraeli guarded one of the entrances to Eden.
I think he was the one who once
And he lost his flaming sword at the beginning.
Yes, once the humans are banished from Eden, he's supposed to guard the entrance with the flaming sword.
Yeah.
And in this, he lost this flaming sword.
Well,
and that's kind of, I think that was Gaiman and Pratchett's way of like, because one of the biggest things that everyone always says, like,
Where's the sword? Where's
Where's the actual Garden of Eden? If we were banished from Garden of Eden, and if Genesis is a one-for-one correct, there, like, because in the book of Genesis it does say, and the garden will always be there, but it will be blocked by humans by the flaming sword.
It's the Congo.
Well, my dad's told me, he's like, it's metaphorical. The flaming sword is meant to be the veil of ignorance, and we can't find it because we just can't see it because we're
So not a single person on Earth is heightened enough to
right. That because we all are born with original sin.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's a shame. Original sin. That's a bear.
It's it's not the burden I wanted, but it's a burden I'm willing to bear.
I never said thank you, and you'll never have to. Is there anything else I wanted to add to that?
This is gonna be the whole video now.
Plot-wise, this bothers me a little, I guess. The whole plot, it starts off with Angel, Crowley, and Azraeli basically conspiring against both heaven and hell, saying like basically we will both pull the Antichrist in opposite directions. At the same time, I'll pose as like a gardener, you'll pose as
like
the maid or something.
Yeah, like one's like
And that way, the Antichrist will be so conflicted, it won't know which way to go.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know. I don't know if they're making this up just for the book's sake. I thought the Antichrist was supposed to be the spawn of Satan in itself and couldn't be swayed to good regardless. Here it seemed like saying like it's sort of a war for who wins the Antichrist. The Antichrist could become a good guy or it could become evil. Whoever wins.
Which if that's the case, he's not really an Antichrist then.
Well, there's in the books they're saying that, and Supernatural touched on that in an episode too, where there was an actual. Basically, it was an Antichrist was basically just a. What is it? I think it was an angel and a human, or an angel and a demon spawn, or whatever.
Okay.
Basically, and the kid had like godly powers, and they're both heaven and hell are fighting over the kid, and the kid eventually just bails and just leaves.
He's like, fuck this shit.
Yeah, he's like, I'm
this
done.
isn't what I
He's like
didn't
12,
set up for this.
But he has like infinite power, so he's just gone, and then he's never heard from again. It's like because the whole every episode you're like, is that God character ever going to come back? Like,
No.
no. Then they actually introduced God and killed him, like the real God. He was the final villain.
That probably pissed off a lot of Christians.
Supernatural 15, God was the final villain.
That pissed off a lot of Christians.
I don't know. I don't think so.
They just accepted that their God was killed.
God was just a prick, and
I mean, he is.
And he gets all his basically they find a way to steal all of God's power from him, and they turn him into immortal.
I mean, that's that would be the way to do it.
But what I didn't like was like all this crazy supernatural shit, like the Leviathan rising.
Yeah.
The dead rising, like all this crazy shit. The world's ending, basically.
Yeah.
At least what it seems to be. And the kid is still just sort of doing his own thing with his friends. I was like, wait. So the initial plan for the angel and demon of like, oh, let's raise him and try and keep him distracted.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem to matter because the kid's not even being like distracted by angels or demons, and yet the apocalypse is still happening. Like
maybe that's kind of the point. I don't remember.
I don't know. Maybe that will be.
I don't remember the full theme to it.
Well, right now I think the chapter I just ended is Crowley got the message that they can apparently avert the apocalypse if they kill the Antichrist, and so.
Well, I mean, problem solved.
So it's like, oh, that's it? You can just kill him? Okay.
I mean,
all right.
I do like the idea that it was like an accidental mix up too.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah,
they fucked up like the one easy thing at the hospital. Like, just swap the babies, which is actually a lot of that's also from the Omen. That's definitely a spoof of. Have you ever seen the Omen?
I know the general gist of it.
Where this cult basically the Antichrist is actually born to a jackal.
Yes.
And this cult that ran the hospital swapped the baby with the baby of it's like a senator or somebody in politics in America. And they basically raised him, Damien.
Yeah.
But it wasn't their actual kid.
And they wanted him to be able to be high influential and have power and stuff like that.
Yeah, like that was all foretold. That This is how Damien becomes he's eventually going to be president.
Yeah.
From a lifetime of being in politics and.
Also, like the whole nunnery is like actually an evil nunnery.
Yeah.
But they're bad and they're dumb. Like
everyone's dumb.